Listen carefully. Don't scroll away. Just stay here for a moment. Because this is not motivation. This is reality. In 2026, something silent is happening. And almost everyone can feel it. But no one is naming it. Life is getting heavier. Slowly. Quietly. Like an invisible weight increasing every single day. You wake up in the morning. You go to work. You deal with responsibilities all day. And by night, you feel it again. I am still falling behind. Prices are rising. Rent is rising. Bills are rising. But salaries feel the same. And the most interesting part is this. People are not even complaining anymore. They are adjusting. This is just how life is now. Everything is expensive. This is normal. But Stoicism tells us something uncomfortable. When you normalize suffering, you do not remove it. You simply learn to live inside it. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." In other words, you cannot control the world. But you can control your reaction to it. And today's real problem is this. People are trying to fix everything outside. But ignoring what is happening inside their own mind. Inflation is often explained as an economic issue. Numbers. Charts. Statistics. But in real life, it feels very different. Inflation is not just about money. It is about pressure. When basic things become expensive. Food. Transport. Electricity. Rent. Something changes inside the human mind. You stop thinking long-term. And you start thinking short-term. Not, how do I grow? But, how do I survive this month? And this shift is dangerous. Because survival thinking does not create peace. It creates anxiety. It keeps the mind in a constant state of alert. As if something is always about to go wrong. Marcus Aurelius taught a simple principle. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. But when inflation increases pressure, thoughts become heavy, negative, and repetitive. You start imagining problems before they even happen. You start feeling stress about bills before they arrive. You start fearing the future before it even comes. And slowly, without realizing it, your mind stops living in the present. Stoicism reminds us. The external world will always change. Prices will rise. Systems will shift. Economies will move. But your mind does not have to collapse with it. Because inflation is not only outside you. It becomes strongest when it enters your thinking. In 2026, one of the biggest mental traps is comparison. People are constantly watching other people's lives. On social media. On screens. In short clips. And they start believing a lie. They believe that everyone else is doing better. Everyone else is stable. Everyone else is successful. But this is not reality. This is a filtered illusion. Stoicism teaches something very powerful. Do not measure your life against others. Because you are not seeing their full story. You are only seeing their best moments. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. In other words, focus on your own path. Because comparison does not improve your life. It distorts it. And when your perception is distorted, even a good life can feel like failure. You start feeling behind. Not because you are behind. But because your mind is measuring the wrong thing. Stoicism brings you back to reality. Your progress. Your discipline. Your direction. Not someone else's highlight. Inflation does not only affect the present. It creates something even more powerful. Future anxiety. People stop living in today. Their mind jumps forward. Again and again. To a future that has not even arrived yet. What will happen next month? What if prices increase again? What if I cannot manage everything? And slowly, the mind starts living in scenarios. Not reality. Stoicism teaches a very clear truth. The future does not exist yet. It is not real. It is only imagination. And most suffering in life does not come from reality. It comes from imagination about reality. Marcus Aurelius used to remind himself. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. In simple words, it is not the future that hurts you. It is the way you think about the future. You create problems in advance. And then emotionally live through them. Stoicism brings you back to the present moment. Because the present is the only place where life actually exists. Everything else is just thought. In 2026, the human mind is under constant pressure. Not just from inflation, but from information. Every second, something is demanding attention. Notifications. News updates. Social media posts. Messages. Opinions. Warnings. The mind never gets silence. And when there is no silence, there is no clarity. Everything starts to feel urgent. Even things that are not important. Stoicism teaches a simple idea. Not everything deserves your attention. Most of what enters your mind does not need to stay there. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But in modern life, people give their attention away too easily. And when attention is scattered, peace disappears. You cannot think clearly. When your mind is constantly reacting. Stoicism is not about escaping the world. It is about controlling your focus inside the world. Because what you focus on shapes how you feel. And how you feel shapes your entire life experience. Stoicism is built on one simple principle. Control what is within your control. Accept what is not. But in real life, people get this completely mixed up. Inflation is not in your control. Global prices are not in your control. Economy is not in your control. Government decisions are not in your control. Yet most people spend their energy worrying about exactly these things. And that creates suffering. Because you are mentally fighting something you cannot change. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. In other words, focus only on what is real for you. Your actions. Your habits. Your discipline. Your mindset. Because these are the only things that respond to your effort. When you waste energy on uncontrollable things, you lose strength for the things you can actually change. Stoicism is not about ignoring reality. It is about directing energy correctly. And energy misused always turns into stress. Financial pressure does not only affect your wallet. It affects your emotions. Slowly. Quietly. Your behavior starts to change. Small things start irritating you. You become more sensitive. More reactive. More tired inside. And you may not even realize why. But the reason is pressure. When the mind is under stress for too long, emotions lose stability. And when emotions are unstable, Even simple decisions feel heavy. Stoicism teaches that emotional control is not optional. It is essential. Because if your emotions control you, then your life is no longer in your hands. Marcus Aurelius wrote about this idea often. He reminded himself to stay calm, no matter what happens outside. Because external events will always change. But your response does not have to collapse with them. In modern life, money stress becomes emotional stress. And emotional stress becomes mental noise. Stoicism is the practice of reducing that noise. By returning to control, clarity, and awareness. Not everything deserves a reaction. Not everything deserves your energy. In 2026, motivation is no longer reliable. It comes and goes. One day you feel strong. Next day you feel empty. And if your life depends on motivation, then your life becomes unstable. Stoicism teaches a different path. Discipline. Discipline is doing what needs to be done. Even when you do not feel like doing it. Even when you are tired. Even when there is no excitement. Even when results are not visible yet. Because real strength is not emotional. It is consistent. Marcus Aurelius did not rely on motivation. He relied on principles. Daily structure. Daily discipline. Daily self-control. Modern life is full of distractions. But discipline is what separates reaction from direction. Motivation makes you start. But discipline keeps you going. And in a world like 2026, only consistency creates stability. Stoicism is not about feeling ready. It is about acting responsibly. Regardless of how you feel. Acceptance is often misunderstood. People think it means giving up. But Stoicism teaches the opposite. Acceptance is not weakness. Acceptance is clarity. It means seeing reality as it is. Not as you wish it to be. When you resist reality, you create internal conflict. You argue with what already exists. And that argument creates suffering. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. But more deeply, he also understood that reality itself must be faced directly. In modern life, people deny pressure. They deny stress. They deny financial struggle. Until it becomes overwhelming. But Stoicism says, when you accept reality clearly, you stop wasting energy on denial. And that energy returns to your control. Acceptance does not mean things are good. It means you are no longer confused about what is happening. And clarity is the first step toward change. Who is the strongest person in the room? Is it the richest? The loudest? The most powerful? Stoicism gives a different answer. The strongest person is the one who remains calm. When everything around them is falling apart, anyone can stay peaceful. When life is easy. But when the economy is unstable. When prices continue to rise. When uncertainty fills every headline. That is when character is revealed. Most people react immediately. They panic. They complain. They blame everyone around them. But a Stoic pauses. They observe before they react. Because they understand one simple truth. A calm mind makes better decisions than a frightened mind ever will. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." That is the difference. Two people can face the same problem. Yet one falls apart, while the other grows stronger. The situation is the same. The mindset is different. Your greatest advantage in difficult times is not more money or more luck. It is the ability to remain clear when everyone else is controlled by fear. Because when the mind stays steady, your decisions become wiser. And wise decisions can slowly change your future. Every generation faces its own challenge. Some face war. Some face disease. Some face uncertainty. Our generation is facing something different. A world that moves faster every year, while becoming more expensive every month. Many people see this as a curse. But Stoicism asks a different question. What if difficult times are also your greatest teacher? Comfort rarely builds character. Comfort rarely creates wisdom. Comfort rarely makes people stronger. Hardship does. Pressure does. Responsibility does. Marcus Aurelius wrote many of his greatest thoughts while leading an empire through war, disease, and constant uncertainty. He did not wait for life to become easier. He became stronger than the life he was given. That is the Stoic mindset. Do not ask, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this trying to teach me? Because every challenge leaves you with two choices. You can become more bitter. Or you can become more disciplined. More fearful. Or more resilient. The world may not stop testing you. But every test gives you another chance to become the person you were capable of becoming all along. Inflation has made one thing very clear. Everything has a price. Food has a price. Fuel has a price. Comfort has a price. But there is another price. One that most people never think about. The price of every decision you make. Every unnecessary purchase has a cost. Every hour wasted has a cost. Every excuse has a cost. And over time, those small costs become a life you never wanted. The Stoics believe that a good life is built through wise choices, not lucky circumstances. Epictetus once said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. But freedom is never free. It is earned. It is earned through discipline, through patience, through self-control. In difficult times, your choices become more important than your circumstances. Because circumstances can limit your options. But they cannot force your decisions. A wise decision today can protect your tomorrow. A careless decision today can create months of regret. That is why Stoicism teaches us to pause before acting. To think before reacting. To choose purpose instead of impulse. Because in the end, your future is not built by one big decision. It is built by the small decisions you repeat every single day. Ask yourself one question. What does it really mean to be rich? Is it a large bank account? A luxury car? A bigger house? Or is it something much deeper? Modern society has convinced us that wealth is measured by what we own. Stoicism disagrees. The Stoics believe that the richest person is the one who needs the least. Because when your happiness depends on endless possessions, you will never feel satisfied. There will always be something newer. Something bigger. Something more expensive. And the chase never ends. Inflation makes this even worse. As prices rise, people work harder, buy more, worry more, yet feel less secure than ever before. Why? Because peace cannot be purchased. It cannot be found in a shopping basket. It cannot be found in a bigger salary alone. Real wealth begins when your mind stops depending on things that can be taken away. Money can disappear. Markets can fall. Jobs can change. But wisdom, discipline, character, and self-control cannot be stolen from you. That is why Stoicism teaches us to build an inner life before chasing an outer one. Because when your mind becomes your greatest asset, the world loses its power to control your happiness. The world will continue to change. Prices will rise. Markets will fall. Technology will evolve. Jobs will disappear. And new ones will be created. You cannot stop any of it. But there is one question that matters. Will you change with the world? Or will you allow the world to change you? Most people spend their lives reacting. They react to bad news. They react to higher prices. They react to fear. And after years of reacting, they forget how to choose their own direction. Stoicism offers another way. Instead of reacting, prepare. Instead of complaining, adapt. Instead of fearing change, learn from it. Every difficult season carries a lesson. Every setback reveals a weakness. And every weakness is an opportunity to grow stronger. The strongest trees are not the ones that grew in perfect weather. They are the ones that survived the strongest storms. The same is true for people. Easy times create comfort. Difficult times create character. So when life becomes harder, do not ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Ask, "What kind of person is this challenge asking me to become?" Because your greatest transformation will never come from comfort. It will come from the moments that tested everything you believed about yourself. Before you leave, I want you to remember one thing. The world has always been uncertain. Every generation believed they were living through the hardest times. And yet, humanity kept moving forward. Not because life became easier, but because people became stronger. Inflation will not last forever. Economic systems will change. Markets will rise. And they will fall again. History has always moved in cycles. But while the world waits for better conditions, you have another choice. You can build a better mind. That is the heart of Stoicism. Do not wait for a perfect economy to find peace. Do not wait for perfect circumstances to become disciplined. Do not wait for the world to slow down before taking control of your life. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, the obstacle is not always your enemy. Sometimes, it is your greatest teacher. Maybe inflation is not only testing your finances. Maybe it is testing your patience, your discipline, your resilience, your character. Because when everything outside becomes uncertain, the only safe place left is a well-trained mind. So protect it. Strengthen it. Feed it with wisdom instead of fear. And remember this. A person with a calm mind can survive a storm that destroys 1,000 anxious minds. The world may become more expensive. Life may become more difficult. But if your character grows stronger every day, then no crisis can truly make you poor. Because the greatest form of wealth has never been money. It has always been the strength of your mind.